What's up, everybody? Welcome to ThreatGEN Wednesday Let's Plays. It is a getting back to normal things after that incredible tournament that we ran last week. If you didn't see that, be sure to check out the videos on the channel. Not saying because I won the tournament, just saying it was great competition. It was really interesting to see heads-up play on that level of competitive play with cybersecurity professionals. Awesome. But we're getting back into our normal Wednesday routines of Let's Plays, and today is a gem. If you stay with us in this video over the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, I am going to be piloting the red team inside the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue cybersecurity simulation platform, but I am adhering to Blackmatter Ransomware threat actor group. Now, you may have heard the term Blackmatter or Blackmatter Ransomware because they are a tier 1 top actor ransomware threat group. They're very, very serious. You will be getting educational information in this stream as well as entertainment as I hopefully kick in the door of the organization that we're going to be taking over and ransomwaring all the things. Now, just as a real quick aside, on Blackmatter. Blackmatter first serviced in July of 2021, so it's relatively new, but it is believed that they are the successors of DarkSide, which was famously known for the Colonial Pipeline, and right after that, things really disintegrated for them. They were kind of blackballed in the community. They reemerged, it's believed, as REvil ransomware as a service. You may have heard of REvil, which got gang busted by Ukrainian police in early 2022. So these guys are having a bit of a run. And Blackmatter has since emerged there in July of 2021. So they emerged in July of 2021. So the REvil thing happened after that. So I don't know if they were operating as two organizations or whatever, but they are absolutely top tier. Their ransomware is written in C. It encrypts files using a combination of Salsa 20 and 1024-bit RSA. They are equal opportunity threat actors. They will target Windows systems and Linux systems. One key thing that we are going to have a little bit of challenge emulating perfectly for the Blackmatter ransomware group is that they are the ones who really pushed and pioneered and made popular the idea of initial access brokers, where they would basically give insiders, people who aren't necessarily criminals, a piece of the pie. If you gave them your credentials and got out of the way, they'd give you a taste if they were able to successfully ransomware your organization. So very, very devious, very, very crazy. We're going to be doing some spear phishing. That's another technique that this threat actor group likes to do in order to get in. They do not use the front door, the gateway network, the internet-facing assets. They punch in through the middle, the soft center, and then they find those critical assets. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing over the next 45 minutes. I hope you can stay with us. Let's go. Hey, Clint Bodungen, how are you?
Hey. Well, you use my full name like it's all formal and everything.
Oh, it is. It is. We're a real deal here. Let me throw your name up there, guys. I wanted to let you know, if you don't remember, Clint Bodungen, famously known for shoutcasting the ThreatGEN Red versus Blue tournament last week. Fantastic job on that. How's it feel to be back in the saddle on the Wednesday Let's Plays, Clint?
It's a lot more relaxing. I just kind of ride shotgun with you and let you drive. And I just kind of sit here and provide technical support, production support, and answers about the game and things like that. So it's just a lot more relaxing. I like you doing the work, and I just sit here.
Yes, that is what I do, the work. All right. Well, I think you're on board with this Blackmatter simulation event and seeing how we can ransomware all the things.
Yeah, and just so you know that I think that this particular, we're going to want to revisit this later because we do have on the roadmap some insider type actions for the red team in the simulation. So when we do have that, we might want to revisit this so that we can get that kind of the initial access broker type simulation going.
Oh, excellent. So look forward to that in an upcoming release of ThreatGEN red versus blue. I do want to take a moment before we dive into the program to say hi to folks in chat. We've got some regulars in here and a couple newcomers. So if you're a newcomer, welcome to the show. I think you're really going to enjoy it as we play through a cybersecurity simulation. So if you like games and if you like cybersecurity and you like good times, you're in the right place. I do want to say what's up to Alex Goodwin. Munchkin's in here. Carrie's up in the mix. Obviously, George Hart. How are you, Just Ben? Nader, a lot of the Simply Cyber community coming over here as well. Appreciate the support. Hey, Alicia, Jerry, John Patine, Decorian, Level Up Goddess. We're going to be doing it today. We're going to be leveling up our gameplay. You ready to jump into it, Clint?
Not really, but go ahead.
All right. Let's do it. All right, guys, this is the look and vibe we're going to do. Let me get rid of our names so as to not cover up anything. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and play. We'll do single player. Used to doing multiplayer. We'll play as the red team. Now, Clint, just as an idea, I'm thinking the medium map might be good here. I don't want to do the small one because I want lots of assets to compromise. But the large oil and gas maybe is too big. What do you think?
Well, I mean, if you really think about where they came from, right? I mean, the manufacturing plant is the small. Yeah, they're not in order, right? So the manufacturing one is actually the smaller one. Pipeline is the medium one. And if you're looking at where they came from, so, you know, if they were the originators of what was the Colonial Pipeline and then became, you know, our evil and all of that, I would think starting with either the pipeline or the large oil and gas would be appropriate. I think for the sake of time, pipeline would not only be appropriate in context, but also size. So size matters.
Okay. All right. So let's harken back to Colonial Pipeline attack and have Blackmatter.
Now they used originally, though, they weren't using that insider broker. Originally, with going back to Colonial Pipeline, they were using TrickBot as an initial means. So they would use spear phishing, which would then have a TrickBot dropper. Then that's how they would get in. So we're kind of taking it back a little bit with doing the spear phishing and really just kind of assuming that we're using a TrickBot dropper.
Absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and start researching my electronic SE because I'm going to need to get the Carls of the world to fall for my phishing attempts, if you will. We're not going to be going on site. That is outside the scope of Revel's approach. We are going to have to do OSINT so we can get into the spear phishing attacks and such. And we're going to have to do persistence. Because we want to get in there and we want to hunker down and move stealthily around until we can execute our ransomware all at once. So let's go ahead and pass the turn. You can see when you start as the red team, you don't have a lot of visibility of any assets, which is true because you're starting with nothing. All right, we're getting our research done, so this is looking good. We'll go ahead and pass the turn. Blackmatter actually is famously also known for coming out and publicly saying that they will not attack necessarily critical infrastructure like hospitals or energy. They did attack Colonial Pipeline, but they meant more like power grid type stuff. They made it very, very plain that they were not that type of threat actor. All right, so we've completed our electronic SE. We're going to keep pumping it up. We're going to pump those numbers, and we're going to do a host scan. Or we can start the spear phishing attack, but I'm going to wait. I want to get the host scan going so we can start getting into the vulnerability trees. The way that ThreatGEN works, if you didn't know, it has a kind of like skill tree, if you will. And in order to unlock the ability to do reversing and fuzzing and find those soft targets to be able to compromise, we have to go through the host scanning, which is also going to be beneficial when we finally do pop a box. We are going to want to compromise an endpoint and then look within the network laterally to find out what other goodies we can compromise, right?
You know, we've had there were people, other people sometimes stream the game, and I think if you're not familiar with red team tactics, some people have a problem with the fact that, man, you know, if you're thinking of like a skill tree like in a game, there's just so many steps before you get to being able to attack. And that's not our design. That is called the kill chain. That is the cyber kill chain. And it is necessary in real red team methodology because you can't go and map vulnerabilities or look for vulnerabilities unless you've gotten more information on those boxes and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So that is a natural part. We're not just enforcing something for game, you know, for the sake of the game. That is the natural methodology of the cyber kill chain.
I've gone ahead and queued up evade network detection. This is kind of an investment in a later on move where when I do compromise a box or I get my initial foothold in the organization and I begin to move laterally, I'll be able to remain stealthy. Again, you've got to remember, folks, Blackmatter is an advanced, sophisticated threat actor. They don't just pop one endpoint and ransom it and hope for something. They are looking for massive impact. They're looking for high value critical infrastructure, and they're looking for many endpoints in order to have true impact on the organization. We've completed our persistence research. I saw David E in chat say, "What, Jerry getting persistence?" ? I think that's a harken back to my gameplay in the tournament the other day. The difference here is we're simulating a stealthy, advanced, sophisticated threat actor versus in the tournament where I was trying to move as quickly as possible, regardless of noise, to get to an HMI, to destroy it, to win the game, to win the tournament. I'm gonna pump the electronic SE one more time, Clint. Now that is gonna take 2 turns to queue up. Now this is a little bit of game methodology. That's gonna take 2 turns to queue up, and the spear phishing campaign takes 3 turns to execute. So the idea here is this research will actually resolve, and I will have that ability at that new level before the spear phishing one resolves the next turn. So this is kind of a gameplay mechanic of long-term thinking.
You can actually have things resolve, dependencies resolve on the same turn as long as you play them first and have them resolve first on that turn. Mm-hmm. So, like for example, if the spear phishing would have been 2 turns, you can still play the electronic SE first, and then if the spear phishing attack resolved on the same turn 2 turns later, you'd still get the buff because the research electronic SE would resolve first.
Yep, absolutely. It is a stack. It's a Philo stack, right, Clint? So like in the order right now, the research electronic SE would resolve first, and then
first in, last out. That's right.
Yep. Philo. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. Even though I could wait 1 turn to start the electronic SE, I just want to get it done. It's part of my strategy. We're queuing up our targets. Now, I just want to also point out that Blackmatter does do data exfiltration in order for that double extortion technique that's been quite popular with the tier 1 threat actors. I don't have any actions to play because my team is fully resolved. I do want to actually recruit hackers coming up here in a turn. I forgot about that. People want to get in on the action, right? Well, consider that the equivalent of recruiting internal threats for initial access brokers. But because of that double extortion technique, we are going to want to exfil data as well once we're ready to start becoming noisy. Finally, I want to point out that there were 3 endpoints here, and now there are 2. This is likely a remote user who has gone offline or has traveled outside of network reach. It's not a mistake of it going. This is very much a simulation of real life where, the sales guy or someone powered off their computer to go to bed, whatever.
Just keep in mind that we modified the mechanics of the recruit hackers. So if you haven't done enough things to get your street cred up, you have less of a chance of getting that recruited. So we're not exactly starting off just like Blackmatter to where we already have reputation. We're a noob gang here. Exactly.
So I'm gonna, my spearfish will resolve on the next turn. I'm actually going to look at my. I might do default credentials as well to help with. It's a 1 turn, and it takes two resources, so it will resolve at the next turn, and I'll have all 5 of my resources available. Presumably, I will be inside the network, and I can start, covering my tracks and beginning to look around laterally because I want to find those high-value crown jewels.
Well, and not only that, moving laterally, they're not limiting themselves to specific techniques moving laterally. They're going to use whatever is easiest. Exactly. So like password attacks, default credentials, those sorts of things are definitely on the table here.
Right. And they do collect system information like system name, username, domain. list of enumerated drives. They do all that. They do target file stored locally and network shares, and removable media. So these guys, once they're in, it's like no holds barred. Let's go ahead and pass the turn. All right, successful spear phishing attack. Now, this shouldn't be as a surprise to anyone because I did pump up my electronic SE. I am very good at spear phishing at this point. Let's see what we got. All right, we got T-Pi Kariska. We're not exactly sure where this is in the environment. We're going to find out. So we're going to go ahead and cover our tracks doing that stealthy look. We're going to host scan from here. And Clint, I want to be quiet, so I'm going to install ransomware because that's the goal. We're ransomwaring all the things. But if I were to install disruptive malware or exfil data, the P&L would start being hit. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. And then your P&L is not going to go down until you activate the ransomware. So you definitely want to get your persistence researched first so that you can immediately. Now, what you should have already had the persistence. You do have it researched. Okay, so yeah, you want to cover your tracks now.
Yep, we can see that's the first thing that's going to resolve here.
I missed that. Sorry about that.
Yep, no, it's a problem. So I've got this box, and I'm gonna hunker down in it, and essentially put a rootkit in it, and then I'm gonna scan from there and install the ransomware. Everywhere we go, I plan on installing ransomware. That's the goal, but I am looking for these high-value targets. Hey, Aoda, the tools we're using, this game is at a strategic level. The ransomware would, in this particular simulation, would be the Blackmatter engine that Blackmatter uses. The spear phishing would just be straight up spear phishing, probably using social engineering toolkit or black eye in order to fake a website in order to get them to fall for it and give up their creds. We have successfully covered our tracks, hopefully. I'm going to go, oh boy. Yep, we see a lot of things. Now, chances are they have not segmented their network. So I need to start looking at this, but the problem is I don't want to waste energy looking for, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to spend the time and energy looking at resources that are going to be hidden once the network segment comes out. It is the IP address, IPv4, is .190.98. You can see they're all .190, which means they're not segmented. So it's very difficult for me to tell what is what. It is .98, so what I will do is I will try to find every asset that is close to .98, and I will do another spearfish, okay? We did spend all that time and energy researching.
Just keep in mind that it's not wasted energy, because everything that you do when the network gets segmented, it's not undone. You just have to Robert completely forgets that you're on stream. It's not undone, because once you get a new pivot to that network, all the work that you did shows back up.
All right. Well, I'd like to do another spear phishing attack or an attack campaign just to have another foothold in the organization and keep doing that. It is initial access, but I am a little concerned if I lose that one foothold, it's going to be a problem. What do you think?
I mean, it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and get I would say you're going to have a better chance with email. The way it works here, the more expensive the campaign, the better the chances you have.
Even with my high electronic SE?
Yes. I mean, the electronic SE is going to work for all of those attack campaigns.
All right, we'll do one of those, and we will scan one box. All right? And we're going to also recruit hackers once we can. This email campaign is going to take 4 resources, so it's really going to limit the amount of action we can do here. We've got a Windows server. We'll enumerate that. That's a good sign. And our email campaign is about to take off. All right, full recon completed. First service enumeration done. We've got an active email phishing campaign going on. We've got Carl.
Oh,
We've got Carl. And we've got the PCS server. So what we're going to do here is cover our tracks on... Oh, see, this is the problem with doing a email campaign, is that I can't really do anything with one resource. We'll let the email campaign run one more time, but I've got to stop it. I don't like running this campaign.
You can recruit hackers now. I think you've done enough to where
I don't have enough resources to recruit hackers.
You need to. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. The email phishing campaign is too expensive. I can't do anything. I'm actually going to end this campaign.
Yeah, end it and then recruit hackers. Get those extra resources.
Okay, and then I'll do a quick scan on this box right here.
Yeah, and by the way, I didn't even notice that. Alex pointed it out. You actually have the SCADA server right there.
Yep.
I mean, you could totally end up winning this scenario, winning the game outside the bounds of the scenario if you wanted to. If you pop
right, but that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, and you could be looking for public vulnerabilities because what you could do is if you popped that SCADA server and ransomed it, that would be a maximum. There they finally segmented the network. But if
hold on, and I lost my foothold. I lost my foothold of the compromised machine.
Now you still have a foothold, which is Carl. And I doubt that there's a VPN in place. There might be. If there's not a VPN in place, you don't know where Carl is. So I would do a host scan off of Carl in order to start moving laterally. Yeah,
I'm going to go ahead and cover my tracks first on Carl. Be stealthy.
Yeah.
And then I will host scan from Carl. Oh, hold on. Let me get rid of this port scan and then host scan from Carl. Okay, so now we're working from our compromised Carl asset. For those who are just joining us, I'm simulating Blackmatter's techniques in order to ransomware all the assets. So this machine came back online. I'm not quite sure why.
And that's because you were able to do a host scan from Carl, and that host scan resolved before Carl logged off. And apparently that box that you had access to as a pivot was in the same zone as Carl. So you got it back.
Very nice. Thanks, Carl. Thanks, Carl. All right, so let's go ahead and our recruit hackers should be resolving next turn. Let's go ahead and port scan some devices. We're looking for crown jewels. All right, we got our additional hackers. Yay. This is good news for us. You can see now we have 7 hackers. Blackmatter's gotten some street cred. People like us. We're continuing to enumerate devices. And I do have default creds researched. So would it be noisy if we made an effort at a password attack on this switch to see if it had default creds on it, maybe?
It just depends on if they have IDS in that server zone yet. I mean,
I do have network detection evasion ready.
Then do it.
All right, so we've got a couple things. We're starting to look laterally. This is, pretty standard practice of the kill chain. We're trying to enumerate, we're basically trying to iterate over the kill chain, looking for those assets that we want to ultimately exploit and then install our payload on, our ransomware payload, and then ultimately, C2, command and control. I'm the command and control. And then do data exfil all at once. It's gonna be a glorious turn when we turn on all the ransomware and do all the data exfil.
Look at me. I'm the command and control.
Yes, look at me. So our password attack was successful. So congratulations to us. If you're team hacker, we are winning. Let's go ahead and install ransomware on Carl as well. We're going to cover tracks on this box, and we're going to host scan on this box, and we are going to enumerate these services. Or I got a port scan on this one. We're getting a nice little layout of the environment. I'm hoping Network sensor wouldn't pick up a password attack. Thank you. Tracks covered, hopefully. Okay, very good. So we've got our tracks covered. We've got our ransomware installed. We did our host scan. Did we do a host scan from that device? We did a host scan from that device. It didn't really reveal anything to us, unfortunately.
Yeah, it looks like you've probably already got everything in the zone.
I am going to do some fuzzing now, okay? We could try a password attack on the firewall. In fact, I'm going to do that. Just because, well, actually, hold on.
You're already in the zone with that firewall.
I know. And that's not even a Blackmatter technique.
Yeah, you're going to find out that that other network device is the DMZ firewall.
Okay. Well, we're going to host scan it right now. Or service enumeration, kind of an nmap-sv, if you will. I would really like to compromise these machines right here.
Just FYI, so David E has a point in that every time a remote user logs in and logs out, if there's not a VPN in place, they can switch zones. So every time, so it is worth host scanning from remote users often until you see that there's a VPN installed.
Very nice. I like that. I like it. I'll also, I know password attacks are a little less likely on endpoints over network devices. So network devices, not a lot of people log in and out, and IT people will just set it up. Packets will be flowing across it, and they'll leave it, and they'll forget to configure the default creds. For example, end users, it's a little less likely to attack them that way. Again, I'm going to do another spear phishing attack, actually, now that I think about it. I would like to get one more hit. Prepare covert attack, Clint. This would be on brand for Blackmatter. How would this help us, this covert attack?
So preparing for covert attack is going to make your next successful compromise hidden, covering the one-turn gap before you cover your tracks, if you immediately cover your tracks.
All right. Well, then I'm going to spearfish.
Yeah, because covert attack doesn't cover social engineering things like spear phishing and campaigns. It is specifically, and I could be wrong, I may be forgetting that, but I thought it was just active attack. So somebody who either beta testers or Aaron, correct me on that.
We're seeing Alex Goodwin saying it gives you a chance of ducking EDR detection. David E also brought up a good point. I'm still going to do the scan, but David said now that in a network segment, you can look at Carl's IP 115.172.115. So Carl is in that IT infrastructure network segment. Okay, so we are able to see a bunch of new assets. This is fantastic. Our password attack failed. We didn't do a password attack. I'm doing a spear phishing attack, excuse me. Let's go ahead and port scan these new devices that we've uncovered. And now that I'm thinking about it, I want the IPs 115, 165, 165, 165. These are all 165. So I don't know what these are, but we're going to find out in a minute.
Those are most, yeah, I guess depends on where he is. So the firewalls you have the gateway firewall and you have the server firewall. The server firewall controls the server zone, the user zone, and the DMZ. Excellent.
So we've found some new devices. We've also done fuzzing, so you can see we've got some 0 days and stuff here. So this is really nice. I want to start here. I want to research. I want to scan some more of these devices. Honestly, I'm looking for the crown jewels. Our spear phishing attack is going to resolve next turn. Carl is 16529. I want to find the crown jewels in the environment. The idea is that Blackmatter is going to cripple this organization with a ransomware attack and data exfil. All right.
Now you have the DMZ. You know that because of the Wi-Fi router there.
Mm-hmm. I think our spear phishing attack failed, unfortunately. Spear phishing attack failed. I think I want to pivot now, since we do own some assets, and start using exploitation. Clint, to compromise assets?
Yeah, that or password attacks. It just depends on how
Shall we,
mature the blue team has gotten their network. I mean, their security.
should I be researching weak passwords then?
Yeah, if you should have done that in the beginning, if you at all are thinking about password attacks.
Well, I really wasn't, but we've tried this one. We'll try this one with a password attack. We do have default creds studied, and that, that's good. So we're still trying to build out where we are.
Yeah, and you have 2 network devices there. I would imagine one of those is the other firewall, and one is probably the VPN. The VPN probably just got installed.
Okay, well, we're going to find out in a hot minute. There is the DMZ. Here's a Windows server, so that's good. And we need to start researching so RFI 0 day. There are a couple assets that have remote file inclusion on them. So, I'm going to go ahead and do another fuzzing attack so we can get visibility over these assets and find some vulns on them.
We have a question.
Yep.
Someone is asking how they can play in the tournament. So the tournament has already passed for the 2022 Invitational. We will have more details on the league. The league is going to be a tournament of tournaments, sort of like think of it like golf, to where you have several tournaments that are all qualifiers for the big final. And you'll be able to find more information on that on esports.threatgen.com once we have more details on that. But that kicks off in February of 2023.
Thank you, Clint. Clint, let me ask you, just based on what we've talked about here with Blackmatter and their techniques, I am looking for crown jewels. Which asset should I really be focused on? This terminal server is always really nice, right?
Yeah, the terminal server is going to have a high impact to PNL, and the historian will as well, more so than workstations.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do a password attack on this switch. Switches are kind of, I don't want to say easy targets, but they typically have default creds enabled. We'll give that a shot. That's how I popped this box up here earlier.
Did I say HMI? I meant historian, or did I say historian? Either way.
You said historian.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the historian is going to have yep.
Okay. Looks like our password attack was successful, so that's good. As expected, we're going to go ahead and cover our tracks there, and we're going to do a host scan from that device. I need to continue with the RFI research, and I'm going to do format string error research, I think. What's this got? Stack Overflow 0 day. DMZ wireless. We got an integer overflow. I do want to get some of these assets here. Here's the RFI again. So the RFI is for this device. I thought I saw another device that had RFI. Oh, it was this guy over here. So let's do another RFI. That'll get us 2 assets. Yeah. And then either format string error for the terminal server or cross-site scripting for the for that guy, for the DMZ server.
It's a shame that they don't have a similar vulnerability across those 2.
Yeah. Integer overflow 0 day. Did we see integer overflow already? Stack overflow, format string error.
Yeah.
Trying to find. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and just keep in mind there's an order of difficulty here as well. So, incorrect access control is going to be easier than an integer overflow. So think of those really complex. So right there, or just when you pick one. So right there, obviously outdated firmware is going to be easier than Stack Overflow. But anything that is memory based and requires complicated exploits is going to be harder to exploit than permissions based or password based.
All right, well, let's see here. Access control related. So 0 day is pretty easy, right? We could do that.
Well, it's not. It's cross-site scripting, which is relatively easy.
That's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. Cross-site.
Yeah. And command injection isn't that hard. All of those are relatively easy.
All right. Well, I think I've seen command injection in other places. So let's go ahead and select that one. We're trying to do some research here. I'm hidden on that box. These are switches with our tracks covered. We're hidden on this box. We have ransomware installed on both of those. Trying to do some research. We are running fuzzing, I believe. David E is saying, see if you can do fuzzing and get some more vulnerabilities. We've covered our tracks. This is pretty good. We could do some additional fuzzing. Got some research done. We're looking really, I mean, I know that these are not high value assets, but we are looking to, you know, basically research these type of things. I'm going to try a password attack on a firewall to see for default creds. The gateway password attack failed earlier, and I feel like I did the server as well at one point. We are seeing a lot of green across the board, which is always nice. That means that we have successfully done our attacks. Gateway. Okay, so only the gateway firewall. So this one over here, let's just leave this over here. Let's go ahead and do a password attack on the server. We're trying to move laterally internally. And then we will run fuzzing, command injection research completed. And if you see here, we were successful at compromising the server firewall, giving us more visibility in the network. You can see here this DMZ pi. We're going to research this because we want this to go up, and we can do one more research. Or let's do fuzzing to follow David E's methodology. David E is in the hacker collective. He's part of our simulated Blackmatter gang here. Alex Goodwin, good call. Also part of the Blackmatter simulated ransomware group, ransomwaring both historians. So these two devices right here would be devastating.
One's a terminal server and one is a historian. But
oh, I'm sorry. Good point.
That terminal server is high priority and high value because that's what's giving you thin client access to all your internal SCADA servers.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and end the turn. We're just trying to, I really would like to get AD and covered our tracks. We've done our research. We found some new assets, right? Clint, as far as like a moving silently, we're doing okay, right?
Yeah, just make sure that you are, anytime that you're going to do an attack, make sure you have your evade IDS prepared and covert attack prepared. So you need to make sure you have both of those, IDS and covert attack.
Okay. I will add that to my next go around. We've got a little bit more research finishing up. We are going to, in fact, if that's the case, Clint, let me back up here and start our covert attack because it's going to take 2 turns.
Yeah, and I would tell you, you know, even though in a normal enterprise environment, your Active Directory server would be high priority, high value to P&L, and it is relatively high value here. Production assets for the production systems are going to be your highest, but you know, anything that is going to be high value, hit it with data exfiltration and disruptive malware and ransomware, it's all going to add up really quick.
Yeah. And I just want to point out, everybody, we have done nothing to the P&L right now. We are stealthily moving through the organization. I'm doing all these port scans here. We do have a pretty good hit here for command injection attack on this server, but I'm waiting for my prepare covert attack to resolve. So then we hit it. No one hears us hit it, right? Covert attack prepared, backdoor created. We're looking good, people. We're looking pretty. We got the email server, all these servers. I'm going to go ahead and hit 2 of them. Well, I'm going to attack the DMZ using command injection. And I'm going to go ahead and try to... I'm going to go ahead and enumerate these systems over here. I want to get more ransomware on stuff, Clint.
Well, and you know, you got to realize that as soon as you get access to boxes, you need to start installing ransomware and malware immediately because as soon as the blue team starts installing and updating their antivirus, you're going to miss your opportunities. It gets very difficult to get that stuff on there once the antivirus is installed and updated.
All right, I'm going to go ahead. Our hacker collective, we're doing this as a group, everybody. This Linux server, our man Alex G, the good man Goodwin, suggests this is the SIM server. If we can own this, we can spend all day lounging in their environment.
Yep.
All right, it is the Elk server. Very nice, Alex. We could do a password attack on it while we do some research on vulns, right? And let's do one more. I do want to own some more boxes. I guess let's research something on this terminal server.
Think about the high value ones. Get the high value ones, or the ones that are going to give you access to more high value ones.
Okay, so I'm thinking the terminal server.
Yes.
So we're going to try to get the SIM server. Here's the order of operations. The SIM server, then this DMZ data historian thing, then the terminal server. These are our 3 assets. Okay. All right, we're getting some information now coming in. Alex G, since he is piloting this particular aspect of the operation, we are going to go and do the public vulns, Alex, and start hitting it hard. While we're in here, I do have access to one more resource. I guess since Carl could be in a different environment, right? We'll do a host scan from Carl, see if it pops anything. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We could begin uncovering this as an asset, right? So let's do that. See what we find. We're still focused on the SIM historian. We didn't find any public vulnerabilities on the SIM. Unfortunately, that's going to have to cost us an extra turn. That kind of stinks, but that's okay. We've got all this. Here's the domain controller. We will do service enumeration on this, and I will do, let's see, integer overflow. The email server is already a hot mess on fire. Let's do RFI one more time, okay? Actually, let's not do RFI. Let's do command injection, since this server is going to be what we're after, and then this server. Cross-site scripting? Shoot. It's too bad. Cross-site scripting would have been a better one to invest in. Damn it. Okay, let's go. All right, so here's what we've decided to do, y'all. We're fuzzing to get to the SIM server. We're enumerating this device to find out what it is, and we're doing a little bit of research on command injection. Aaron Shabib saying that the compromising the email server would be a good move. I do like that. We've got 4 of our 7 resources locked up for one more turn, so we could do a password attack right now if we wanted to. I have not tried a password attack on this particular asset or this asset. I do like doing password attacks on networking devices just because people are less likely to configure them correctly. Let's go ahead and do this. Clint, we got some fuzzing that's about to resolve, hopefully to find something on the Elk server.
Yep, an Elk. That's your SIM. So, yep, that would blind.
That's the plan. Now, Alex. Look at me, Alex.
Ooh.
We're the captain now, y'all. RFI. YOLO. We did successfully hack this thing, so let's cover our tracks as well. Slowly moving through the environment. Shabib, patch your computer, my man. What are we doing here? Ugh, RFIs all over the place. Guys, let's hope we get a good roll here. Need to take that SIM server out. All right.
Oh, didn't get it.
Didn't get it, but we're not done.
Yeah, that's
we're not done.
It's a complicated exploit. Well, it's not really remote file inclusion. Not really. I think you just got a bad role.
Yeah, I am gonna continue to research RFI because we do have some other machines in the environment that have it. So if this doesn't work on this turn, basically we're going to get economies of scale by continuing to research it.
Yeah.
It did not work again. We're going to continue to hammer it.
Wow. I'm really surprised.
Here we go. Here we go.
Got it.
We did. All right. So we were successful. This is a major win for us, y'all. Let's go ahead. We had covert attack on. So blue team has no clue now. And now you want to talk about, look at me. I'm the captain now. Whew.
Yeah. Unless the only way that they're going to be able to discover that SIM is compromised is if they do threat hunting on the SIM.
Yeah, I don't expect that to be anything. All right, so let's continue. We said we were going to attack the crap out of this one using command injection, so let's go ahead and do that. And we'll start uncovering these systems right here. Looks like we can see these systems because we compromised the SIM server, I suppose. But we can't do anything with these assets over here, so we can't really do anything useful. We can do a host scan from this device. That's useful. Oh, come on, David E. You're giving me a Gerald roll? Seriously, bro?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think anything... I wonder if that's anything that the blue team has EDR on. So if you compromise the SIM, then I think the reason you see all those is because those devices have EDR and log collection. So the SIM knows about them.
Yes. So I'm doing cross-site scripting because the email server and the terminal server both have that vulnerability. I'm attacking this DMZ.
Get that historian,
and then the terminal server is my next, and then probably the email server, maybe the file server if we're feeling froggy, and then we're activating ransomware.
Yeah, just make sure that everything that you have compromised, that you're going to want to put malware and ransomware on, you do it ASAP before they get the AV on there and updated.
Yeah. Well, so right now, Carl and TP are the only ones with ransomware. These network devices, you really don't put ransomware on, and the ELK server is a special machine that you can't put ransomware on.
You've covered your tracks on the, I guess you don't need.
I'm doing the cover track. I did the cover tracks last turn.
You can do cover tracks on the SIM, which I think will also buff your chances against the threat hunting.
I didn't have the opportunity to cover my tracks on the SIM. Oh, it's because I had covert attack already planned.
That's different. Covert attack is different than covering your tracks.
Well, I had evade now. Well, I don't know, Clint. I don't have the option to cover my tracks. I'm not sure why. Right? So I successfully attacked the ELK server here, and I don't have the option to cover my tracks.
Right. Okay. It may just be something with the SIM. It may not be an option for the SIM.
Okay, no problem. Hit the SIM with a covert attack. Yes. Pivot available. Successfully compromise an asset. Okay, so this is great. Okay, so let's go ahead and cover our tracks on this one as well.
Yeah, so
and
that's the database. That's the historian database. That's going to be pretty good. Go ahead and get everything installed on that. That's going to be high value for your P&L. Definitely hit that terminal server now.
Yeah. Well, I spent my resources, 2 resources on covering tracks, 2 resources on installing the ransomware. So we're doing our, objectives on target now that we've owned it, and we're finishing up our cross-site scripting research. So I'll be able to attack this next turn. By the way, cross-site scripting is the 0 day on this box. So everything's kind of coming up.
Database. You got that other database now.
Where?
Right there. That you just clicked on it. The PCS Pi. That's the other historian.
Okay, cool. All right, so we're gonna need to find some vulns on this thing. But it's all looking good. Here, since I have 1 asset, 1 turn, let's just do find public vulns and see if this thing comes up with anything. Hey, Joshua B, good to see you. Tracks covered. We're looking good. We've got our 7 full resources. The terminal server is on fire. We're going to do 0 day attack. We're going to hit that hard. We do want to save our resources. Heap overflows here. That's not really wonderful for what we're doing. We can own the email server. We're going to want to do that to screw them all up. And then file server. And then I think we're good to launch malware. I mean, detonate ransomware.
Yeah. I think you've already got enough to where I would start getting
detonating.
Start detonating and getting start exfiltrating data, start getting ransomware and malware installed, because it's going to get to a point to where you're going to miss the opportunity to even get that stuff installed.
All right, well then I'm going to install disruptive malware on this guy and Carl, our original 2 boys. And then we can activate malware on this, we can activate the ransomware on it. And while that's happening, we can continue to attack these assets, right? And we've got the activate ransomware on this thing. So we're attacking the terminal server. We're beginning to install our disruptive malware. Our attack sequence is beginning now. This is ThreatGEN Red versus Blue. You can find more at threatgen.com on this particular game. The action log, we were able to successfully install our malware. Our terminal server attack did not work. We'll go ahead and hit that again on our 0 day. And we're going to go ahead and install disruptive malware on this guy. And what else can I do for one resource, Clint? Can't really do much here for one resource. Could do a host scan from the DMZ Pi, kind of find some more stuff.
I don't know if you're going to find anything else.
Well, it's whatever. It's a resource I want to spend.
Yeah, I would have.
Hold on.
Enumeration.
Yeah, I was actually just going to say, there's a couple computers here that we can futz with. Oh, we can't see them. That's too bad. Network device. Can we see this? No. Can't really do anything with these things over here, unfortunately. We'll do a host scan with this guy then. And hope for the hit on the terminal server. We successfully compromised the terminal server. Good job, everybody. Going to go ahead and cover the tracks, install ransomware, and install disruptive malware. And so this is going to all resolve next turn. We want to... I think we might start exfiltrating data, Clint.
Yeah, I mean, you've already started your attack, and you've already started doing things where the P&L is going to start going down. There's no reason not to be doing things that's going to drop the P&L further at this point.
Okay. Since activating the ransomware doesn't cost any resources, I kind of wanted to wait. Let's go ahead and cover our tracks on this one. Assuming that works, we'll do all the things starting next turn. Here we go. Covered our tracks. Very nice. We are, in fact, exfiltrating data now on these devices. This guy has ransomware on it. Let's begin the ransomware attack.
So just to clarify, someone asked, the difference between a covert attack and covering your tracks is covert attack makes a compromise hidden. Once the initial compromise happens, it makes it hidden. If you want to remain hidden, you have to cover your tracks.
Yes, exactly. Good, well put. We're going to exfiltrate data on this device too. Pass the turn. I'm attacking the file server as well, guys. The file server. I mean, that's kind of where your crown jewels are as far as your data. So very juicy target for exfiltration. So if we get that, we're going to exfil and begin moving on. We've successfully ransomwared several devices now. Blackmatter is in the house.
Yep.
This is not a good situation. Our file server attack failed. We'll continue to attack that using this cross-site scripting 0 day.
Yeah, you definitely, now that your presence is known, you are going to have to keep moving laterally because in the event that the blue team starts replacing those assets or restoring from backup, you're going to need to recompromise them. But if you can't, you're going to have other alternatives to ransomware just to keep that P&L going down. Because I doubt the blue team's going to pay the ransomware.
Good
Not
point.
yeah, this particular AI probably won't pay the ransomware.
All right, so we've got a lot of
Yeah, make sure you're exfiltrating data on all your boxes too. You want every single bit of P&L drop that you can.
all right. Now, is exfiltrate data something you have to do over and over again every turn, or is it once it's on, it's on?
No, it's you do it once per compromised box. Once
Okay,
it's
so
on, it's on.
All right, so we are exfilling from this box. All right, here, I'm going to actually set this up to look a little prettier. So when we do our rain dance here, we can feel really good about us. This is not a good situation. If you were blue team, you would throw up if you if you discovered that your SIM was compromised. Like, you have no visibility. P&L makes it look like Wile E. Coyote overshooting the cliff edge. That's right. Good game. Pivot available. We compromised another asset. The file server is DOSed.
There you go. Do everything.
I'm really no point in covering the track at this point, right? I mean,
well, no, you do, because there are, unless it cover tracks until it's ransomware. But if you're going to ransomware it, then because once it's ransomware, they know you're there. But if you have boxes that aren't ransomware, but you're doing things like covert attack and disruptive malware, it makes it harder for the blue team to figure out where all those other compromises are that's dropping the P&L.
Okay, good point. So you can see we've compromised the file server, which I would consider would be a Blackmatter high value target. And you can see we're installing ransomware, we're covering our tracks, we're installing disruptive malware, and we're exfilling data. We're doing all the things for this server that we would want to do. Clint, there's a question from Jeremiah Gutierrez on chat.
Yeah, so the difference between the Steam version and the Pro version, up until now, there hasn't been a lot of difference, but those differences are starting now. The biggest difference is that you get downloadable reports and more metrics on the Pro version. There is some educational content on the Pro version on the portal online, and there's more educational content on the way coming very soon. Also, there's some exclusive events that you'll get with the Pro version you don't get with Steam. And there are going to be certain maps and educational content like labs that are available on the Pro version and not the Steam version.
Thank you. Passing the turn. It's not looking good for red. I mean, for blue, excuse me. Blue's having a tough day. The P&L has definitely got to be high. Carl, exfilling data. We're not worried about that right now. We've got all these assets. The file server. The ransomware did not successfully install, unfortunately.
You keep trying a couple more times, but after a couple times, if it doesn't work, that means that the chances are very slight because they already have all that AV updated.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and hit their email server too, just to scare them a little bit. That's RFI, which is not. Yeah, okay. So let's do the email server. Password attack this guy with our remote file inclusion. Pass the turn. We are trying to install ransomware on the file server. We'll try it one more time if that was unsuccessful.
So someone said that they're considering switching from their Hack the Box to this. Keep in mind, I'm just going to, full disclosure up front, that Hack the Box is more of your command line stuff, your capture the flag, but more command line and more technical detail. This one is purposefully not technical. I would say for those people that are a little intimidated by things like Hack the Box and traditional CTFs, this is great for you. Or if you don't want to get that much into the weeds, but you want to keep it at the strategic and big program level, even on the red team, this is going to be for you. But I don't want people to think that this is a cyber range or a command line CTF type thing.
Yeah. So Clint, unsuccessful multiple times installing ransomware on the file server. Looks like they've got, good defensive controls. There are ransomware controls in place that can detect, more when you're activating ransomware, but still, So we can't really get in that box on the file server and install malware. I've been unsuccessful at attacking the email server. I'm going to go ahead and attack the domain controller with this cross-site scripting. I'm basically lashing out. Actually, you know what? Let's attack end users. Like, I feel pretty good.
Yeah, they're going to contribute to that P&L as well, especially when you ransomware, data exfiltration. When you get the trifecta, disruptive malware, data exfiltration, and ransomware, even the lowest value targets still add up.
Yep. So we compromised them. Let's go ahead and grab this guy. Holy crap, this guy's got major problems. Rick Moliko. Rick Moliko, you've got issues, my friend.
That's an Easter egg.
Coming at you, brah. All right. So that attack failed, unfortunately. Rick Moliko dancing past us. But we're going to go ahead and try to install ransomware one more time and attack one more time with the RFI.
Look at all those vulns.
Yeah, buddy. Trying to get a lucky roll. Trying to get a lucky roll here. We want to install. Yep, we got it.
There you go.
And we want to, again, I've been unsuccessful in installing malware on this white box. But let's go ahead and try installing ransomware on this guy.
I will tell you, that was a pretty good feat getting Rick Maliko, because I think the chances on Rick Maliko I'm not sure if it's all attacks or just password attacks, but I know that getting Rick Maliko is harder than a standard remote user.
Oh, well, cheers to us. I mean, we are emulating Blackmatter, a tier 1 ransomware threat actor. Oh, and we
There
definitely,
you go.
We took it. We took the W. Congratulations, everybody.
Even before 50 turns, you would have got that in a 50-turn game.
Yes, that's a good point. Good point. Which was the format for the tournament there. You could see we really had the blue team by the short ones. They were trying to create restore points and do vulnerability assessments, requesting major amounts of budget. I don't know why. They had 60 grand. I'm just going back through. They installed EDR on the Elk server on turn 46. Way too late for that. They created restore point on the Elk server at turn 43. Basically, making a backup of a compromised machine. So that's not too good for them. This is all really, really interesting. I am curious. I did attack this at one point. Oh, we can't click on it to see the vulns.
Yeah, you can.
Well, you can't see default creds or not. Outdated firmware attack would have been nice on this.
Fixed it.
So let's go back and look at our feed. So we had a pretty good one, guys. Just to, since I care about metrics, we had 4 successfully ransomware devices. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 compromised assets. We had 0 days on the domain controller and on the email server. And it just, we were in a good position. We were in a position of power here. If for whatever, the blue team had more P&L, or their management was willing to withstand more time, I would have done a 0 day, I would have done more fuzzing on these devices to find out where they are.
Yeah, so real quick, Alex had a question. How come you didn't get the +1 resources on 10 compromises? That's because this is there was a bug. You're playing the version without that fixed. Password attacks and some other attacks weren't counted towards the 10 compromises for that bonus, that power up bonus achievement. And but in the next update, we're finally going to go live with 1.10.3 today or tomorrow, and when that happens, the fix for that is in there.
So kind of curious, Rick Maliko's laptop had a bunch of issues, but I was still unable to install ransomware on his box. And white, I was unable to install ransomware. So very, very, it was getting difficult there at the end.
Yeah, they had AV updated.
Yep. All right, y'all. What do you think, Clint? I think, let me change the screen here. So that was basically ThreatGEN piloting the red team, demonstrating Blackmatter, a tier 1 ransomware threat operator. We went ahead and followed the TTPs. We got an initial compromise inside the organization. From that point, we started moving laterally. We exploited boxes with whatever means necessary. We took advantage of default password configurations on network devices. We got in and compromised the ELK or SIM server. So the defenders had zero visibility over their assets' compromise status. Their EDR, their endpoint detection and response, their anti-malware solution was not reporting in to a centralized management where the blue team was looking. We ransomwared all the things, and ultimately at the end of the day, we drove the business out of business because they couldn't afford to stay in business. Presumably, we don't care as Blackmatter. We either get paid. We did exfil a bunch of data, so we're going to go ahead and jump on the black market, dark web marketplaces, and go ahead and sell that data and get paid for our efforts.
Yeah, and even though we weren't able to do the insider initial access broker, I think that this was still a pretty realistic portrayal of Blackmatter.
Agreed. If you have any suggestions on threat actor groups that you would like us to emulate in a manner like this, please reach out to us on Discord or on in chat, and just let us know. We're happy to step through this. It's just as fun for us as it is for you all as we kind of simulate these environments. And the same goes, it's a little bit easier to point to an APT and say, do this one. But we also will do it on the blue side if you have interest in seeing different cybersecurity frameworks and how they would actually stack up against an active adversary artificial intelligence playing the red team.
Well, and another thing we're about to start doing is, we have our AI adjusted for tabletop exercises now. So we can actually, and we're going to start doing some streams where we actually go against specific actors as the blue team. So like we're acting as the red team actors in these threats right now. We're about to start doing it to where we can play it as the blue team, and we're going to be countering and responding to very specific threat actor behaviors, much like a tabletop exercise would work. But so we're basically going to flip the script. And oh, by the way, I know that some of you on chat here, and some of you I recognize have done a couple streams recently of you playing red versus blue. If you would like myself, I'm not going to volunteer Jerry, but he can answer for himself. But if you would like me to appear in chat while you're streaming, play along, help, give you hints and tips, or appear as a guest host, co-host with you while you're doing your streams playing red versus blue, that's something I'm happy to do. Reach out to me on our Discord.
Absolutely. All right, Clint, I think that's going to do it for this week's Wednesday's Let's Play. Guys, we play every Wednesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check youtube.com/threatgen to see the next streams as they are coming up, and we hope to see you at the next event.
All right, take care, everybody. Bye.